says some good stuff here from Wolfpack, and he's saying, yeah, right now Tatis looks like a double-A player.
I don't know if it's lack of bat speed or lack of actual power. He's not putting any balls in play that are screaming line drives that are nabbed by the second baseman or fly balls that are pulled down at the warning track. It's just not there. But we still got 3 weeks of spring training to go. But I would have thought this deep into his physical regimen, because remember, he started swinging bats and everything a month before the Cactus League teams opened camp. So in essence, I think he would have been ahead of the curve. And he played on some backfield inter squad games, but that's kind of soft toss, swing the bat, and wow. Mm-hmm. But so far, 0 for 16. Let's withhold judgment. I just bring it up as a topic because it's something I'm looking at and saying, boy, this doesn't feel right. And obviously you don't think it's right either.
Yeah, well, I think Bob Melvin has already said he's not worried about this. And it's just going to take a little time. You know, he's had the 3 surgeries, took a year off, got a lot of media attention. I think to your point, let's just give him a little bit more time, but it is a bit curious. You know, we're kind of scratching our head. We're waiting for Superman to emerge like he always seems to do. But yeah, it's just as the world turns in the Padre world.
You're not singing Kumbaya, are you?
No, not yet.
Okay, next question.
Okay, we're going to just go check out some of these YouTube comments because you always get so many great people that follow on YouTube and leave some messages. This is one from Jake Ho 100, and it's again talking about the whole Peter Seidler strategy for the Padres. It's a little long, but I think it's worth reading. And he says, not sure if it's fair to say that San Diego State blew it, right? Because that was what you were talking about, Hacksaw. He says, no one expected them to fill the stadium the first year unless they were doing spectacular things. Fans go to games to be entertained. Viejas is sold out. Obviously, Hoke and company know they need an entertaining offense to draw crowds. Look who they're recruiting offensively. Give them some time. I'm a longtime fan of all San Diego sports teams, including the Chargers. And I'm excited about the Padres because of their approach and going all in instead of being half pregnant. I still go to San Diego State games.
Well, the reality is there is no sizzle at Snapdragon. They lost it. That sizzle was their opening day against Arizona. I sat in the end zone with the fans. It was electric. I'd never seen that at an Aztec game. I felt so good for those kids running to the end zone before the start of the game. And the favorite Aztec chant, we will win.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That was gone by the third quarter, and it never, ever came back the rest of the season. And by the end of the year, 100, they were struggling to get 17,000 to show up. The whole upper deck's totally empty. And I'll circle back to the column I wrote. They did blow it. I told them way back when they started to advertise one team, one town, Rocky Long Aztec football. I said, you need to go hire one of the former Charger executives who is not going to LA. If you can find one that worked in marketing and sales, he could bring all those contact lists of all those corporate sponsors. Did they do that? No. And so they finish up by playing in falling down Qualcomm Stadium, get hit by COVID, have to go to Carson for 2 years, lose everything, come back here, open the new stadium, charge exorbitant prices, and then put a really poor product on the field. Now, I will say this, because I happen to be a Hoke fan when I'm not arguing with him. I really firmly believe this is going to be one of the best home schedules they're playing all season. They got UCLA very early at home, and then they get Fresno, they get Boise, they get Nevada. All their hated enemies in the conference, they come into Snapdragon. So they got a chance to play really good people, beat really good people, and make a statement. Hopefully the offense is going to be better. Hopefully last year with Brady Hoke and all the junk they got involved in and his unhappiness with the media, hopefully that's a one-off and he can bounce back, because the prize at the end of the road here is maybe the Pac-12 conference. So they got work to get done. Fascinating home schedule. I think it's going to be great, but I hope they have quality quarterbacking. They can put some sizzle in the offense to put the spark back into Snapdragon Stadium.
Yeah, it seems like they need some help with a lot of the, like you say, the sales and marketing side of it to not only be able to promote what's going on at Viejas, I mean, at Snapdragon, but also at Viejas. I mean, your idea for the doubleheader for men's and women's basketball is a great one. So if the Aztecs, they have a golden opportunity here to capitalize in this marketplace. But yeah, you're right. They got a great lineup next year. Even, your Bobcats are coming into town.
Well, Brady won't be talking to me the first week of the season because I'll be wearing green and white, even though my heart bleeds for red and black. But so we'll see where it goes. The problem is, in the last part of his sentence, is the Padres did what the Aztecs should have done. And the Padres now have all the Charger corporate sponsors on top of the Padres corporate sponsors, on top of a big budget, first place team, Fab Four in their batting order, and they're going to draw more than $3 million, and maybe they get to go to the World Series. Aztecs were left behind.
That's a tough break.
Next question.
Let's move on. So this is from Alan Molitor talking about golf wars, between LIV and PGA. He says, yeah, I've been watching them all along. Very good at golf as a whole. I like the team's aspect. I mean, he likes LIV.
You might be the first guy I've ever met that likes LIV. You might be the first guy aside from my dog that watches LIV. Nobody's watching LIV. I wonder deep in the heart of Dustin Johnson and Sergio Garcia and Phil Mickelson, I wonder now if they think they made the right move, because nobody in the States is watching them to play whatever good golf that they are playing. That's a big issue. And yeah, they got their guaranteed money, but it just, to me, it kind of comes off as LIV tournament. It's an exhibition. Doesn't really mean a hill of beans. Tell me, TPC at Sawgrass this weekend, last week, Honda Classic, what we saw out here at Riviera, that means something? Damn right it did.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting hearing that some of these people commenting on YouTube. There's a number of others that are fans of LIV, and I'm still wondering how I can get it on my television.
Cable channel D? I don't know. We'll see where it goes. And, I quoted the statistic last week when their opening tournament, LIV Mexico City, nobody showed up to watch it. LIV Mexico City had 288,000 viewers. The Honda Classic last week had 2.3 million. Do you see a little bit of disparity there?
Just a little.
Next question.
Let's move on here. So this is from Andrew Williams, and just talking about all the rules changes in Major League Baseball. Hey, Lee, do you think the Padres with Nola behind the plate will have even more problems with running game given the new rules? I'm especially worried about a Darvish Nola battery. I like Nola, but he's not very good at throwing guys out.
I think Campusano has to be the catcher this year, but he's got to prove mechanically. That's a real good question, Andrew. He's got to prove mechanically he can handle the pitchers, communicate with the pitchers, make the right calls with the pitchers. And by the way, if the ball is in the dirt, block this stuff. None of this reaching like this or lunging like that as the ball goes to the backstop. For a guy that's been in their organization 4 years, mechanically, he still looks a little bit flawed. I do think they paid him a lot of money. I mean, this is one of the first barrage of international players they signed. He's got to have a breakthrough season. Nola will give you everything he's got, but Nola is not an all-star by any stretch of the imagination. So only time will tell here. And in terms of the rules, I mean, it's still fascinating. I watch a wide variety of exhibition games from the Grapefruit Circuit early and sometimes from the Cactus League late on MLB. And the pitchers they lose focus. They're looking at the bloody clock. And the clock is ticking, and all of a sudden the pitchers just come apart. And I still see the batters occasionally stepping out of the box. You're only allowed one time to step out of the box and adjust my gloves. Bad habit to change. Got to change it, because otherwise it's a strike. So they're going through a learning curve. The most interesting comment I heard this week, Shohei Ohtani left the Angel camp to go join Team Japan in the WBC. And he was asked through the interpreter what it's been like the first 2 weeks in camp and actually pitching in games. And he says, I really feel uncomfortable. The minute you get the ball back from the catcher, that clock starts. That 15-second clock starts. And the guys just seem rushed. They can't think through what didn't work on the last pitch. You can't make an adjustment because you got to be on the mound, get into your move towards home plate. I think it's tougher on the pitchers right now from a concentration standpoint than it is on the batters. Batters just stay in the box and get ready for the next pitch. The pitchers have so many things mechanically that they need to think about, and then get the sign. And if there's a guy on, they got to look over there. And how many times do I throw there? Do I not throw there? And you get balks. And I think the pitchers are the ones that are going through a real rocky time. But like I said, we got 3 more weeks with these, get these guys to channel it in. Okay, one more question here on Fans Forum.
Okay, so let's go here and let's get Walter involved and talking about the Aztecs maybe going to the Pac-12. He said SMU is struggling in the American Conference. Why would you want them? SMU is not giving you the Dallas-Fort Worth metropolitan area. TCU, with their success, being barely popular in Cowboys and Longhorn country.
Well, a couple of things. This is not so much about the football programs. This is about TV sets in the San Diego market and the Dallas market. But Walter, you raise a great point. Nobody's watching Aztec football on TV. I doubt anybody's watching Mustang football in Dallas-Fort Worth on TV. So do they really bring TV viewers? And this is not a sexy Pac-10 conference now with Southern Cal and UCLA gone. Even if the Aztecs become a member, are you excited? Aztec Stanford, Aztec Washington State, Aztec Oregon State? Unless the wife is saying you got to go do grocery shopping, you say, no, I got to stay home and watch State. Does that really light your fuse? If it were Aztec, USC, UCLA,
oh yeah,
damn right.
Yeah.
I think that's a real big issue. And in terms of the big picture, I mean, the rumors are flying. San Diego State, SMU, doesn't make any sense to me. Rumors are Pac-10 conference would keep Oregon, Washington, the corner schools, Arizona State. Maybe they do an interlocking schedule with the Big 12. I could see that. There's a wild rumor out there. Maybe they do an interlocking schedule with the ACC. So your non-conference games, the Aztecs would play people from the ACC. Now, you wouldn't get Clemson every year at San Diego State, but they would rotate in and out with the other Pac-12 schools. So, Oregon, Clemson's pretty sexy.
Oh, yeah.
Washington, North Carolina State, that's not bad. Or Washington, Florida State. And then you sprinkle the others against the remainder of the Pac-12. But those are the rumors out there. Nobody knows at this point. I think by March 30th, we're going to have a definition of what the Pac-12 TV contract looks like, and then we'll know whether or not there's going to be expansion or whether they just go with 10 schools now and see how it filters out.
Yeah, this is very interesting how there's a lot of options. But I remember one of the other YouTube commenters had made a point that for the longest time, the Pac-12 would never take BYU for religious reasons. And now here, Southern Methodist might be brought into the Pac-12. It's kind of makes you wonder what are their standards? What's their selection criteria?
TV sets. I think that's all they're paying attention to. And I just don't think it's the end all be all. Hey, listen, we appreciate you being with us. We're here every